And we are rounding out your top weather stories of the day. Thank you so much for sticking with us. We've been talking about a pretty active weather season, or winter season so far, and really talking about feet of snow for some areas of the country.
We really have, and I think that's been the scenario. We've been talking about it for weeks here this winter, especially folks in, say, New England. So you're talking about much of Massachusetts just getting hammered with a lot of snow. And so in Boston, actually still near the all-time record, snowiest winter on record, just shy of less than 2 inches. So let's go ahead and show that graphic. We'll show everyone exactly where we stand for Boston. 105.7 inches so far this season.
Yeah, so no record yet, but we're pretty close. It's and what's interesting about this total is that a majority of this was accumulated in about a month.
I know, isn't that nuts?
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy. So we want to just take a break from that and kind of reinforce safety when it comes to your homes. And so we want to go ahead and bring in Kyle White. He's with RE/MAX, and Kyle joins us here. Thanks for joining us here at WeatherNation.
Thanks for having me.
So as we talk to you, we have some video also showing roof collapses, which has been a huge concern for folks in the Northeast.
Yeah, it has been. It's been a major issue, and we see it a lot. You see the roof collapses, and you also see the ice dams, which cause a lot of water damage in properties.
Yeah, so areas across the country, we're not only talking about the Northeast with a heavy weight of the snow, but also icing issue across the Southeast and also the Midwest as well, some of those mid-Atlantic regions. Now we're coming up on transitioning into spring. A lot of that snow is going to be melting, and if it doesn't melt first, we're likely to get some rainstorms. There are some storms that move through as we come up on the next few weeks, and some of that, of course, rain falling on the snow will only add as a kind of an added weight on some of those structures. How can folks prepare for that?
You know, one of the biggest things you want to do is you want to make sure your gutters are cleaned out. When that water starts coming down, you want to make sure you get those gutters are clean, and you want to get the extension so it pushes the water a long ways away from your foundation. They say at least 6 feet on the gutter extension, but I'd actually recommend probably going twice that with how much water you're going to have accumulating out there.
Wow.
Okay, and so what about folks that maybe older folks that can't really get out and do that kind of work? What is the best type of service to call on to have that done?
You know, there's a lot of people that do it. It's pretty simple stuff. A lot of handymen you can find, on Craigslist, obviously, or Yellow Pages, things like that. They're very easy to find.
Okay, sometimes lawn maintenance folks do that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, absolutely. And then real quick, let's just hit on the cold weather. Does that affect our house?
You know, what the cold weather will do when it goes, this time of year we see a lot of is the thawing and de-thawing. And when you get that, what you'll find is those hairline cracks in your concrete or in your foundation, your driveways, for example, when it constantly freezes and unfreezes, those cracks start to expand. Because as the water is expanding every single night, your cracks will start expanding as well and going with it. So what people want to do is on a warm, dry day, you want to take some of the clear silicone and fill those cracks the best that you can.
Yeah, and you can get that. You can get that at Home Depot, can't you? Some of the local places. Yeah. Well, you're right. As the temperatures really start swinging back and forth, that happens to the infrastructure too. So roads. That's how we get potholes. So the same thing you're saying happens inside your home to your foundation as well. So that's some good advice.
Yeah. Hey, Kyle. Thank you so much for joining us here at WeatherNation. Of course, that was Kyle White with RE/MAX, and really that's the scenario that we're talking about, and we're going to continue to talk about a warm-up on the way for some folks, but again, definitely still dealing with some folks having to clean off their rooftops.
Yeah,
Mary.
certainly. And this is a good example here. That was a mall where I think it was an abandoned mall, I can't remember, that had that roof collapse from early in the season. So a very active season. And as Mike said earlier, we are starting to warm up, seeing some sunshine across Eureka Springs, even across portions of Illinois into Denver, Houston. 24-hour temperature change looks like this. You can tell where the colder pocket of air resides after that cold front moved through, and we are warming up across the Midwest. Places like Wichita, Kansas, up into the upper Midwest as well. Denver's going to see a climb in temperatures as we travel the next couple of days, and Kansas City as well. You're not going to know what to do with yourself. In the 60s as we approach next week, even the 50s and 60s for this weekend, which will be very nice, showing up just in time for the weekend. How nice of Mother Nature, right? And of course, Minnesota as well. I would tell you, Minnesotans would appreciate 30s this time of year, but look at this. Go into the 50s as we approach next week, and certainly some good news for many folks across areas that have really been in the deep freeze over the last several weeks, and kind of had a pretty harsh winter so far, even Cleveland, Ohio, in the 30s and 40s.
A much needed sight, and of course warmth on the way for folks that have been in the deep freeze for quite some time. Don't forget to check us out on Roku, and your local forecast is next.